Not many people have played the Madoka Magica PlayStation Portable game due to the fact that it was never officially released into English or any other languages and only stayed in Japan. Luckily for us, there exists an English patch that gives us English subtitles so that the lost chapters of the first timelines and side stories can be recovered and be brought into English. I did some videos about the first timelines which gained a lot of views, but this time I want to cover the first year of Mami Tomoe in this video. But since I know most of you like to hear the actual main protagonist talk instead of me talking about what the events are, I plan on just showing you the events and then make some light commentary right afterwards. So with that out of the way, let's begin with the first event of the past of Mami Tomoe's past, which played many years before the main events of the anime and the first timeline. The event is probably 3 years apart from the day Homura entered the school as the new transfer student, so keep that in mind, because they didn't thought about making another model for Mami Tomoe for these events and kept her 15 or 16-year-old self in all these events. So let's start with the first event.
お父さんお母さん行ってきます。おはよう。おはよう。ねえ、数学の宿題やってきた？やばい、忘れてた。私やってきてるよ。さすがマミー。ねえお願い、映させて。私も。もちろん。やった。いつもお世話になります。どうしたの？誰かに？なんだか誰かに見られてるような気がして。どっかで男子が見てたんじゃないの？モテる女は違うね。そんなんじゃないわよ。私の。またまた。もう。
As you can see, this event showcases Mami Tomoe's life before the tragic accident that killed both her parents and made herself a magical girl. We see that she was well liked by all the people around her, and she was always open to all the other people she encountered and always helped them. However, we also see the first incident of Kyubey's presence, because the person that is stalking Mami Tomoe is none other than Kyubey, who is currently on the magical girl hunt and sees Mami Tomoe as the perfect target to become a magical girl. But he should have some problems recruiting her, as we can see in the next two events, because she is quite literally scared of Kyubey's presence, believing that it is not a cute, white alien cat, but instead a pervert who's out for her body. Unfortunately, the other students just take it as a boy trying to confess to her, ignoring how uncomfortable she feels. L friends, I must say, like they're even jealous of her.
そういえばね、私今日変な噂聞いちゃった。変な噂ってどんな？ほら、この前さ、うちの学校の上級生で自殺未遂した人がいたでしょ？集会もあったし、大騒ぎになったもんね。でね、そのぴったり同じ時間に違う学校の生徒も本当に？しかもね、今回だけじゃないの。最近多いんだって。年齢も職業もバラバラな、何の接点もない人たちが、中には本当に死んじゃった人もいるんだって。やだ、何それ。なんかやばいんじゃない？ただの噂じゃないの？違うって。確かに都市伝説みたいな話だけど。そういえば最近物騒な話が多いよね。この間は強盗があったんだっけ？怖いわね。嫌な事件ばっかり。あ、今また。マミどうしたの？やっぱり誰か見ていた気がして。私は感じなかったな。そうそう、モテる女演出みたいな。そうね、気のせいだったのかも。じゃあね、マミ。またね。
それでは今日はここまでです。みんな宿題忘れないでね。それとここ最近学区内を含め町内での治安が悪化しています。寄り道などはほどほどにして早めに帰宅するようにしてくださいね。
先生がああ言ってるってことは、やっぱりあの噂は本当なんだね。本当に自殺なのかな？殺人とかだったら怖いね。今日はそれがいいと思う。危ないしね。 ずっと感じてる視線が気になる。今流行ってる事件、みんながあの視線に気がついてないなら、私が少しでも役に立たないと。
As you can already deduct, these rumors are in fact true and are a result of a witch witching a person into making them commit suicide. Of course, Mami Tomoe is scared of hearing these things due to the fact that she already feels like she is being watched and targeted, and of course this fear gets once again amplified by the fact that Kyubey is still watching her, and all her classmates are not rather supportive and just think she is just playing around or just searching for attention. L friends once again, which of course results into Mami Tomoe believing them and thinking that she is once again overreacting, even though she still feels rather uncomfortable. This feeling of uncomfortableness once again gets amplified by the fact that even a teacher wants them to make sure that they go home early and take no detours and just go back home as fast as possible, resulting into Mami Tomoe once again feeling fear and thinking that the feeling of being watched has something to do with it, once again believing that she is being targeted, which she is, but for becoming a magical girl and not a witch's snack, but more on that in the next event. What you need to know is that Mami Tomoe is completely scared of being one of these targets that results into her committing out of nowhere suicide.
じゃあ私、買いに行ってくるね。お買い物に行ったのに、遅い。マミ。誰かが、この前から感じる視線。そして今の声。先生が言ってた事件。友達が言ってた事件。これって。ここは、思い切って。ひどいな、大声出すなんて。僕は走ってどっかに行っちゃった。
As you can see, there's also another option which I will now be showcasing.
気のせいかしら。誰かが見てる。どうしよう。怖い。走って逃げようかな。ここは思い切った。
As you can see, both events results into the same outcome. However, as you can see, Mami Tomoe is extremely scared of being a victim of any kind of violence. That she lives in a world where she has to fear these kinds of violence. Which is unfortunately, since this girl did nothing wrong and should get the most comfortable and wholesome life in the whole world, if you ask me.
それじゃあ、また明日ね。あれ、今日は急ぐの？帰りにマミに買い物付き合ってもらおうと思ってたのに。ごめん。今日はちょっと用事があるの。何？とうとうマミに彼氏ができた？ひどい。友情を犠牲にして男を取るんだ。ちょっと、勝手に話作らないで。今日は両親と食事に行くだけ。お父さんとお母さんが車で迎えに来てくれてるの。だから今日はここで。また明日ね。もうついてるはずだけど。あそこね。お父さん、お母さん、お待たせ。みんなで外食なんて久しぶりね。今日行くお店ってあの有名なお店でしょ。人気店だし行ってみたかったんだ。楽しみ。お母さんの言う通りよ。お父さんもちゃんと前見て安全運転しないと。優しいお父さん、お母さん、学校の友達、私幸せ。このねえお父さん、お父さん前。そうだ。何か体が動かない。どうして？なんで？お父さん。 お母さん、大丈夫？お母さん。嘘だよね。聞こえてるでしょ。ねえ、二人ともよ。体が動けない。痛いよ。巴まみだね。あなたは誰？天使？死神？私の魂を奪いに来たの？違うよ。僕の名前はキューベイ。君に僕と契約してほしいんだ。契約？そう、僕と契約して魔法少女になってほしいんだ。契約の対価に君の願いを何でも一つだけ叶えてあげるよ。願いを？そう、どんな願いでも構わない。もっともこの状況で君が願うことは一つ分かってると思うけど、君はもうすぐ死んでしまう。ひどい事故だよね。周りは混乱してる。救急車が到着するにはまだ時間がかかりそうだ。そんな。それは君次第だ。君の願いは、起こしてほしい奇跡は何だい？願い。私死んじゃうの？さあマミ、願い事は何だい？助けて。それが君の望みだね。契約は成立だ、巴マミ。君のソウルジェムはどんな輝きを見せてくれるのかな？
Okay, this event actually brings up many questions. One of these questions is the following. Did Kyubey kill Mami Tomoe's parents? Since Mami literally warned her father about something that appeared and suddenly disappeared in front of the car, which resulted into the car crash. We also know how severe her wounds are, since she couldn't even move and was about to die. When she first saw Kyubey, she thought of Kyubey as even an angel or the Grim Reaper, which Kyubey denies, which I find extremely interesting considering that Kyubey did play the role as an angel in the John d'Arc manga. Anyways, Mami makes her wish to save herself, which starts her character arc and also forms the ghost of her past, which character analysis writer described the traumatic event of one character, which forms the lie the character believes, as well as why the character does the things that she does. Mami's whole belief is built around the fact that she didn't save her parents as well when she had the opportunity to do so, which made her believe that she is nothing more than a selfish girl who doesn't deserve anything in her life, and she needs to do everything in her power to redeem this selfish act of her by becoming a hero of justice and saving everyone but herself in an attempt to redeem herself. But despite becoming a magical girl, she still has a lot of fears, which we will see in the next event.
巴さん。
先生。
おはよう。もう体は大丈夫なの？
はい。
今回のことは何て言ったらいいか。困ったことがあったら私に言って。何でもいいわ。どんな話でも聞くから。
何でも？本当に何でも聞いてくれる？信じてくれるわけないよね。はい、ありがとうございます。
マミ、今朝も何も食べていなかったね。
食欲がないの。
そうかい？だけど、いざという時のために体力はつけておいた方がいい。
いざという時って、どんな？
もちろん、魔女が現れた時さ。
そうね。魔女が現れたら、私が倒すのよね。マミ。おはよう。おはよう。体、もう平気なの？うん、平気。 そっか、よかった。あ、ごめん。よかったっていうか、変な。いいの、わかってる。マミ、私たち、ありがとう。でも、みんな同じね。気の毒とか、かわいそうとか、仕方ないよね。人事だもの。自分の身に降りかかったことじゃないんだもの。分かってはいるんだけど。
What I found interesting in this event is clearly Mami Tomoe's self-isolation and self-belief that no one would believe her, which is based on truth, because Mami Tomoe knows that the existence of magical girls, the existence of Kyubey, and the existence of witches and familiars would be a childlike dream or the desperate attempt of a PTSD-driven child who just lost their parents make sense of the world and give their meaningless death a meaning, which would result into people either pitying her more, which she already hates since everyone looks at her and thinks, oh poor girl, or worst case scenario would result into her getting put into a mental institution. It doesn't help that she gets pressured, or not really pressured, but gets advised by Kyubey to ready herself for a witch attack while she still is in grieving and is still extremely depressed, as can be seen by the fact that she doesn't eat anything. It also has to be noted that Mami Tomoe is completely scared of the fact of risking her life, that life that she spent her wish for to stay alive. If she dies, her parents would have died for nothing, and she would believe that she would be just selfish. It also has to be noted that because Mami Tomoe knows a bit about magical girls thanks to her watching all these magical girl shows, she knows how many extreme monsters she probably will face, and that scares her, which is realistic. And later on, when she learns about the witch's labyrinth and what happens to one if they get trapped in there and die there, will amplify this fear, but we come there when we come there.
ねえ、聞いた？繁華街の通り魔の話。聞いた。犯人、なんで通り魔をやったか記憶がないんだってね。今日さ、買い物する用事があったんだよね。そんな事件の話聞いた後だと怖くてじゃあ一緒に行ってあげよっか。二人で行けば怖くないでしょ。本当にありがとう。持つべきものは友達だわ。マミ、キューベ、何かしら。今の話聞いてたかい？これは魔女の仕業かもしれない。今日にでも繁華街に行ってみよう。今日？何を驚いているんだい、マミ。いや、怖い。でもそれが魔法少女の使命だよ。行くじゃん。ねえマミ、魔法少女は魔女からみんなを守るための存在なんだ。守る？私がみんなを？そしてマミにはその力がある。私には力がある。その通りだ。そう頼んだよ、マミ。
We see even Mami Tomoe's fear getting amplified by this event, where she learns that even older students and other students are scared and are influenced by witches, and how these witches influence these people by committing suicide. Mami Tomoe fears that. She fears a painful death since she already experienced one, and she already knows that if she dies, there's no returning back. There's no redeeming herself in the eyes of her parents for her selfish wish. Once again, in her eyes. This has to be noted, that all of these fears are based around her own perception of herself and perception of what exactly justice is. Kyubey knows this, or has a hunch about this, and therefore guides her by telling her it's her duty as a magical girl. And now that she is a magical girl, her duty is to protect all of us. And also, she has the power to do so. Basically saying, with great power comes great responsibility. Basically, Kyubey became both the guy who killed Uncle Ben and is Uncle Ben for Mami Tomoe, which is why Kyubey is so important to Mami Tomoe. But we come to that bridge when we come to that bridge.
さて、いよいよだね、マミ。準備はいい？ 君の同級生たちの噂では繁華街で通り魔が出たって言ってたね。ええ。じゃあその辺りを重点的に調べた方がいい。
でもどうやって探せばいいの？魔女なんて実物を見たことがないし。
それをこれから説明するよ。マミ、君のソウルジェムを出して。
これ少し光ってる。
魔女の発する魔力に反応しているんだよ。魔女は用心深い。普通は結界の奥に隠れ潜んで人前だから、いろんな場所を歩き回ってこのソウルジェムがより強く明滅する場所を探し出す。そこに魔女の結界があるんだと。あとは結界を見つけてから説明するよ。
わかった。ねえ、大丈夫かしら？
やれやれ。マミ、君はこれからもっと危険なものと戦うんだよ。
それは
不吉な気配がする場所がないか注意深く探すんだ。人が多い場所はその分だけ負の感情が集まりやすい。
反応が変わらないわ。
そうだね。ここじゃないのかもしれない。魔女も移動はするからね。
少し強くなった。この辺りってこと？キューベ、見て。屋上に女の。どうして私ばっかり。もう死にたい。死ねば楽になれる。
あれはひょっとすると。ダメ。
手からリボンが。
大丈夫。気絶しているだけだね。マミ、この人の首筋に印があるだろ。これは魔女に見入られた証だ。それにしてもすごいじゃないか。初めてなのにこんなにうまく魔法を使いこなせるなんて。
無我夢中だったな。私にこんなことができるなんて信じられない。
もちろん君の魔法の力さ。どうだいマミ、少しは自信がついたかい？
ええ、本当に。ソウルジェムがさっきより強く反応して。
うん、絶対に間違いない。ここに魔女の結界があるよ。
このビルに？
ソウルジェムに力を込めて結界の入り口を開くんだ。
わかったわ。これでいいの？
さあ行こう。魔法少女マミの初仕事だ。
ええ。ここが魔女の結界？
静かに。魔女の気配が近い。
戦いの。
そう、変身するんだ。
変身？
君には魔法の力がちゃんとある。だから大丈夫。
わかった。
さあ行こう。
魔法の力を信じて。怖がらず自信を。
お疲れ様マミ。
私勝ったのよね。
ああ、完璧な勝利さ。まあ魔女ではなくて魔女何を笑っているんだい？
ほっとしたの。とっても怖かったから。怖かったのにすごく嬉しいの。魔法の力ってすごい。こんな私でも悪いやつを倒せるんだ。
The first mission and therefore the first witch hunt begins, and Mami Tomoe is like a fish out of his water. And that is not surprising, considering that Mami Tomoe is on her first mission and has no idea how the magical girl business works. So Kyubey needs to teach her everything, which is once again a funny interaction, because Kyubey's plan is to make her a witch and ensure that she doesn't die. However, her low confidence, thanks to her depression and the fact that she doesn't know what to do, results into funny interaction. Like Mami Tomoe fearing that when she goes near a crime scene that she would get caught by the police. And Kyubey is like, catch the witch, or Mami Tomoe's failed attempt into finding the witch, which is rather weird considering that we saw Mami Tomoe being the perfect magical girl in both episode 1, 2 and 3 in the anime, where she perfectly found a witch with the help of her soul gem. Once again, we see Mami Tomoe's first year and first steps at being a magical girl, and even the perfect magical girl had her problems at her first mission, which makes her more relatable. But this relatability gets a bit thrown out the window with her first mission. Even Kyubey was surprised by this. We see the same office lady from episode 2 jumps from the same place down, and Mami Tomoe uses instinctively her ribbons. It has to be noted that she didn't even transform and uses her ribbons in her normal form. Even Kyubey was surprised by this and impressed that she is such a natural, and starts seeing the potential in her, which will be important later on with the Kyubey interaction. We also learn how a magical girl enters a witch's labyrinth, which I didn't know. Kyubey explains that a magical girl enters a witch's labyrinth by focusing on their soul gem's power and open the entrance to the witch's barrier. And by doing that, they enter the witch's barrier. He also explained how exactly a magical girl transforms. A magical girl transforms by fearing no fear, by being completely confident in their power of magic and their confidence in their ability of magic and the ability to transform. Basically just saying, just imagine yourself getting transformed. We then see a whole fight against some familiars, and Mami Tomoe is finally feeling a bit confident afterwards.
お父さん、お母さん、すごいでしょ。私、魔法少女になっちゃった。この力があれば、みんなを守れる。だから心配しないで。私はキューベイだって一緒にいてくれるもの。
マミ、まだ起きていたのか？
うん。なんだか
今日はお疲れ様。初仕事からあんなにうまくいくなんて思わなかったよ。
私もよ。女の人を助けることもできたし、
君と契約できて本当によかった。マミ、君は
あの時、頭が真っ白だったけど、女の人、お父さんとお母さんが死んで、もう私には何も残ってないと思ってたの。でも違ったわ。私にはこの力がある。この魔法の力で、こんな私でも魔法少女として。
そうだよ。君は十分みんなの役に立ってるさ。
うん。キューベ、これからも。あとね。
別にそれくらい構わないよ。
ありがとう。今日はよく眠れそうな気がする。キューベ、あなたがいてくれて。
お礼を言うのは僕の方さ。マミ、君が魔法少女になってくれて本当に。
Like I said before, Kyubey is a master manipulator. We can see this once again. He knows how to press Mami Tomoe's buttons. This girl who lost everything and still thinks of herself as selfish, and thinks of her wish as selfish. She tries everything in her power to redeem herself in the eyes of herself and in the eyes of her parents. And now that she has newfound confidence in her new ability as a magical girl and saving a person from suicide, she sees it as her responsibility to continue being this heroic magical girl. She even sees it as her only way to redeem herself and the only reason why she needs to stay alive, to be helpful to others and not to herself. Kyubey now understands fully what Mami Tomoe's character is, and because he sees her immense talent and immense power, he's glad to make this contract and also continue pushing her button by stating things like her contribution as a magical girl helps a lot of people. Kyubey knows that Mami Tomoe suffers from immense survivor guilt and also feeling useless and selfish, and knows that these words are exactly what she needs to hear, that she is useful for society, that she is not selfish when she is a magical girl and saving other people, giving Mami Tomoe a lot of euphoria when hearing that. But still, even though she still has immense euphoria from hearing these words and is willing to work together with Kyubey, she still is extremely alone and wishes to be with someone, which is why Mami asks Kyubey if he could stay with her until she falls asleep. Kyubey knows that this is important to Mami Tomoe, and if he wants to make her a powerful witch, he needs to stay by her side and comfort her until he breaks her down by manipulating fate, bring her more witches, or tell her lies that result into her staying alone, only relying on him, until he also walks away from her to completely isolate her and break her down, which is why Kyubey for now stays at Mami Tomoe's side and invests all his remaining time into her becoming the perfect witch. But Mami, who doesn't know any of that, is just glad that Kyubey stays by her side. Poor girl, I must say.
みんな普通に生活してる。こうしてみると、この町に魔女がいるだなんて信じられない。
だからこそ、入り込むのはたやすいんだ。魔女の脅威に気づいている者にしか、それを食い止めることはできないのさ。
そうね。私が何とかしないと。
何かあったみたいだね。魔女に関係があるかもしれない。本当なんです。本当にあの子が、私の子供が消えたんです。
しかしね、奥さん。消えたって言っても、どんな子？
だから、目の前から駆け消えたんです。まるでどこかに吸い込まれるみたいに。早く見つけて、お願い。こうちゃん、どこにいるの？
これって。
おそらく魔女の仕業だろうね。子供は魔女の結界に捕らえられたのかもしれない。
やっぱり、助けないと。
そうだね。それが魔法少女の役目だ。昨日の戦いも良かったし、君ならきっと大丈夫だろう。
ええ、私頑張る。ソウルジェムが光ってる。この公園内に魔女がまだ潜んでるの。
探してみよう。この公園の中にいるはずだよ。
She still isn't a veteran and still is a rookie. However, she has now confidence and is aware of the existence of witches and is now aware of the fact that people don't know about the existence of witches and it's her duty to do so. When she saw a mother searching for her boy and realizes a witch is behind it, she jumps into action and Kyubey feeds her with self-confidence word like saying it's your duty as a magical girl and you are a good magical girl. You fought extremely well last time, giving her positive reinforcement and confident to be the magical girl she is meant to be. Once again, ensuring that she will continue her duty as a magical girl and will use more and more magic, which would result into her soul gem getting more tarnished, like the tarnished from Dark Souls.
ここね。ソウルジェムが反応している。
この反応は魔女本体だ。この
男の子はどこにいるのかしら。
Mami Tomoe now enters the witch's barrier and now faces against the Silver Witch minions. These have no real name except the Silver Witch minions, and these minions have two distinct forms. First, there's this stone-like form for the Silver Witch minions, which is always slow and easily to defeat without being hit. However, their HP is extremely high, and its rust removal attack can reach Mami Tomoe from far away. So, Mami Tomoe never can let her guard down. It also doesn't help that they also can transform into these wheel-like entities, and when they use their wheel attack, the familiar will also take recoil damage. If the recoil damage reduces the familiar HP to 0, it will self-destruct and Mami Tomoe will not gather any experience.
ここが最深部ね。
ああ、この先に魔女が。ママ。囚われた子供だね。魔女の力で縛り付けられてる。
子供をあんな風に。今 今助ける。ダメだ、気づかれた。マミ、気をつけて。子供を盾に。あの子供を取り込む気だ。早くしないと手遅れ。そんなのダメ。その子を離して。
Mami finds the boy who is trapped by the witch. However, she sees that the witch is now holding him hostage and she now has to face extremely powerful witch. Speaking of the witch, this witch is called the Silver Witch, but also has a name, this being Gisela, and she has multiple forms, her rust form and her motorcycle form. It has to be noted that she first appeared in episode 7 in a flashback scene where she was fighting against Kyoko, where she described to Sayaka how she thought that her father would be proud if he would know what she is doing outside the house, saving the world from witches. She also appears in Magia Extra in the movie sequence where Kyoko fights against her. But the Silver Witch first makes her proper introduction here in the portable version, where she also has her own witch's barrier and also her two forms, her rust form and her motorcycle form. It also has to be noted that there are some keen observation and trivia. According to the commentary from Ino Curry in the official guidebook, the Doras, aka the Familiars, play the Godfather theme from the movie Godfather from their exhaust pipes. Not gonna lie, I was also a bit shocked by this revelation. That's some cool shit. Now, there do exist many theories and observation about why this witch is named Gisela. Some believe that she was named after Gisela von Armen, a prominent writer whose mother was close friend with and held unrequited feelings for the German writer Goethe, which, if you don't know, Goethe is one of the main inspiration for Madoka Magica, since he wrote the famous German literature book Faust, which inspired many things in Madoka Magica, this being Kyubey and many of the witches and witches' forms and Walpurgisnacht and the idea of selling the soul to the devil. In the crossover event of Madoka and the Monogatari series, it was revealed that her witch's barrier is based around freedom. Her labyrinth moves along at top speed, and with her gigantic body and personality, which is particularly violent even for a witch, she smashes anything that moves with her giant hands. And like I mentioned before, her body became rusted, and now she isn't able to transform into a bicycle form. Her song is called Rolling Tire Rolling, and mostly consists of honking noises and driving around the street in asphalts.
私の攻撃が効かない。そんな。でも何度も攻撃すれば。リボンじゃ無理だ。相性が悪すぎる。もっと効果的な一撃を与えられる魔法じゃないと。じゃあどうすればいいの？急がなきゃあの子が。嫌だよ、ママ。どうしよう、完全に取り込まれて。マミ、一旦逃げよう。このままじゃ君までやられてしまう。早く。何言ってるの？だってあの子が。マミ、ごめんなさい。大丈夫かい、マミ。ねえ、キューベ、あの子は魔女に取り込まれてしまったんだ。おそらく死んでしまうだろうね。助ける方法はもう間に合わないの？残念ながら今の君では無理だ。そんな。だって私。君は十分頑張ったよ。今回は相性が悪すぎた。あの子泣いてた。私助けられなかった。君がもう少し魔法少女として成長したらまた違う結果だったかもしれないけど、今。マミ、そろそろ落ち着いた？ねえキューベ、あの子のお母さんこれからさあ、わからない。あの子供を探し続けるか、どちらにしろ結界の中で死んでしまったんだ。死体は残らない。あの子の死は誰にも、母親にすら知られることはないよ。永遠に行方不明のままだ。私がもし魔女にやられちゃっても、私が死んじゃっても、結界の中であればそうだね。それが魔法少女だ。でも誰かを助けることもできる。君。
The the boy died, the mother is searching for her boy, and Mami Tomoe has now a new reason to hate herself. Some ask themselves, why would Mami Tomoe run away from this fight? Like Kyubey mentioned, her ribbons don't work on this witch. She can't inflict any damage to this witch, and Mami Tomoe is still inexperienced. While she is a prodigy, she is still a magical girl at the beginning steps. Her first Fantastic Four first steps. And also, she is extremely scared of dying, due to the fact that she's extremely scared of dying, which gets amplified when she learns that if she dies in a witch's labyrinth, that no one would find her body. But at the time where she fought against the witch, she knows that she still has a purpose that was reinforced by the good old-fashioned Kyubey, who told her it's her duty and purpose in life to save people as a magical girl. And her inability to do that, and being once again too scared to die and prioritize herself and her safety first instead of sacrificing her well-being to save another person, results into her once again hating herself and feeling like useless trash. Especially since this time it wasn't adults that she wasn't able to save, or in this case her parents, but instead an innocent boy who did nothing wrong, and her mother is still searching for her. Once again, this gets amplified by the fact that she learns that the mother of this boy would most likely continue searching for her boy until the end of time, or until she believed that this boy is dead. Mami, who knows the truth that this boy was eaten by a witch, and the inability to tell this mother that her son is dead, and the inability to tell her mother that she was responsible for not saving this boy, results into her soul gem getting tarnished, but also results into her becoming motivated, which we can see in the next event.
Mami, どこに行くんだい？
ちょっとね、寄りたい場所行かなきゃいけない。見て、キューベイ、あそこ立て看板があるわ。
子供の捜索願い。あの子供のものだね。
あの子は魔女に囚われて死んでしまった。でもそのことは誰も知らない。あの子のお母さんの声も、あの子の声もまだ耳にこびりついてる。きっとこれからもずっと。ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。私がもっと強ければあなたは死なずに済んだのに。罪滅ぼしにもならないかもしれない。でももう二度とあなたのような人を出さない。もっともっと強くなって私が魔女を倒すから。そう、誓う、許してとは言わない。だけど待ってて、必ず仇は取るから。ごめんね、キューベ、付き合わせちゃって。
いや、いいんだ。ここに来ることで君の決心が固まったのなら。
魔女の犠牲が増えないように私戦う。もう誰も悲しませない。
そうだね。君がそう決めたのなら、魔法少女マミはそうやって戦っていくのが正しいんだろう。
うん、私がやらなきゃね。私がこの町の人たちを守らなきゃ。だって私にはそれしか、この町しか残ってないもの。
マミ、何してるんだい？こんな時間に。
キューベ、見ての通り魔法の訓練よ。私強くなるって決めたの。もう二度とあんなことにならないように。
なるほど。それで技を磨いていたんだね。成果はどうだい？
見ていて。
リボンの強度も攻撃の正確さも増しているね。でも
かってる。ここからが本番よ。これはバスケット銃か。なるほど、リボンを銃に変えるとは考えたね。これなら一撃でも強力だし、遠くの敵にも攻撃できるでしょ。弾も魔力を利用して打ち出せる。狙いはまだまだ甘いけど、訓練して完璧にしてみせる。早く実戦で使えるように鍛えるわ。頼もしいね。その意気だよ。
The death of the boy completely crushed Mami Tomoe and results into her wanting to be more powerful to save everyone who is in trouble. Because of that, she starts training, as we can see by the training montage. And I must say, I once made this comment, but not many people believed my statement, but I believe that Mami Tomoe knows more about guns than Homura, considering that she spent a lot of time researching all of these different topics and learned how to create out of her ribbons muskets. It has to be noted, her magic can create muskets, and extremely many muskets. Once again, Kyubey's statement that magical girls can do anything once again seems to be truthful, because Mami Tomoe was able to create these muskets thanks to her understanding of how guns work and her determination and confidence in her magical ability and her ribbons that she created these muskets. She also increased the strength and accuracy of her ribbons and also plans on doing this every single day. We also learn thanks to the event that she trains right after school every day and therefore has no time hanging out with other friends, which would result into the next event losing all her friends that she made before the accident that killed her parents, isolating her even more.
では今日はここまで。
ねえマミー、私たちこれから買い物行くんだ。よかったら一緒にどう？ごめんなさい、私用事があって。またそう。今日は図書館で大型銃の構造について調べなきゃ。もっと強力な攻撃には必要だわ。それに見回りもしないと、また魔女が現れるかもしれないし。
あの事故からあの子、付き合い悪くなったね。うん。毎日あんなに急いで帰って、何さあ。ま、そっとしておこうよ。正直、こっちもどうやって接すればいいのか。そうだね。かわいそうだけど、何もできないよね。
マミ、町の方でまた事件が起き始めている。少し調べた方が良さそうだ。そう、わかった。今日は見回りを重点的にやるようにするね。大丈夫。私は戦える。たとえ一人でも。ここに間違いないわね。ソウルジェムの反応から言って、おそらく使い魔レベルの結界だ。そうね。行きましょう。
Despite the fact that this event is clear and dry, I want to make a comment about Mami Tomoe's classmates. I have no growl against them. They are still children and don't know how exactly to deal with these kinds of situations. And also, in some continuation, Mami Tomoe did have some friends, even after becoming a magical girl and being a rookie magical girl, as can be seen in the manga The Different Story, where some of Mami Tomoe's classmates thought that Kyoko and Mami Tomoe were a couple, because Mami described their relationship as so intimate. By the way, besides Mami X Madoka, Mami X Kyoko is my second favorite Madoka Magica ship. What are your favorite Madoka Magica ships besides Madoka X Homura? Anyways, let's continue on with the gameplay that I'm showing. What I find interesting is that Mami already encountered back in the day, 3 years ago before the main event of the anime, the witch that Sayaka was facing in episode 4. However, Mami only fights against the familiar, which brings up the question if this timeline is completely different, considering that we do know that the timelines in Madoka Magica can differ in both the present and both the past, since in Kyoko's route, she fights against the Silver Witch and kills the Silver Witch in her flashback, while in the Mami route, Mami kills the Silver Witch together with Madoka or her alone. So this brings up the question, does Mami Tomoe eventually also kill the TV Witch? And when exactly was this TV Witch created? Is she an older magical girl? Was she in her late teens, or was she even maybe an adult? Questions over questions, which makes me even more curious into researching more about the witches of Madoka Magica.
お見事。その銃の威力は大したものだね。ええ、でもまだまだよ。今ね、もっとたくさんの銃を出して、それにいつかは魔力でもっと大きな銃を作りたい。大きいって
どれくらいだい？
そうね。大砲くらい。一撃で相手を倒せるような戦い方も工夫しなきゃ。今度兵法の本を読んでみようと思って。
マミ、君は
もっと研究してみる。見ててね、キューベ。私は強くならなきゃいけないの。だって私は魔法少女なんだもの。
And that was the last event of the flashback for Mami Tomoe's early years. However, there exists another flashback in the Kyoko route as well as in the Madoka Magica manga, The Different Story, and the audio drama of Madoka Magica, which covers the past between Mami Tomoe and Kyoko, which I will cover in the next video. If you are interested in this, please like and subscribe and write down what I can make different to make these videos kind of more enjoyable. But for now, I wish you all a very good day. Goodbye.